Listen to these words. You, ma'am, have overstepped a line that is not your domain. I am not your subject. I am the man who keeps you free. Those words are from a former Marine to Democratic Senator Diane Feinstein of California, telling her that he would not register his weapons with the government, even if her proposed ban on assault weapons is passed. The letter started on a CNN report and has gained lots of attention online. Joshua Boston, an Afghanistan veteran, joins me now from Louisville. Your reports, Joshua, have gone viral, more than 250,000 views in the last few days. What made you write it, and did you ever think that it would get so much attention?
I didn't expect it to get as much attention as it did, but these things happen. I wrote it because I kept seeing in the news this debate about gun control, and all the points being brought up by Senator Feinstein, a lot of it's misinformation, and it seems to be, it's fear-mongering that she's spreading, and it's being perpetrated by the media as well. There's just not a whole lot of double-checking and not a lot of facts coming out in this discussion.
Well, you wrote this letter. I'm curious, is it in regards to any proposed assault weapon ban, or specifically the senators?
Specifically the one she posted up on her webpage a few days ago. She says she intends to bring it in as soon as possible in this next congressional session.
So what will you do if an assault weapon ban is passed?
Well, I'm not going to be registering, and precedent's already been set by David Gregory, who apparently doesn't have to abide by the laws of Washington, D.C., so why should I have to abide by
we don't know that. There was some miscommunication there, apparently, but what will you do then? You won't register, and what do you think might happen to you?
Well, I mean, whatever happens, happens, but I have a right granted to me by the Second Amendment in our Bill of Rights, and it says shall not be infringed.
Most, if not all, assault weapon bans are looking towards the future. They're not retroactive. Now, according to Feinstein, her bill will ban the sale, the transfer, the importation, and the possession, not retroactively, but prospectively. It will ban the same for big clips, drums, or strips of more than 10 bullets. And in response to your letter, I want to read the statement that the senator released. She writes, Senator Feinstein respects Corporal Boston's service. She has heard from thousands of people, including many gun owners, who support her plan to stop the sale, transfer, importation, and manufacturing of assault weapons and large-capacity magazines, strips, and drums that hold more than 10 rounds. As Senator Feinstein has said, the legislation will be carefully focused to protect the rights of existing gun owners by exempting hundreds of weapons used for hunting and sporting purposes. That was from her office. What do you make of that?
I'm still confused as to where the hunting and sporting clause is in the Second Amendment. It's nowhere to be found in the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, so I don't understand what she means.
So when you look at those things that happen, like the shooting in Newtown or the shooting in Aurora, Colorado, you don't think that there should be any change to the law?
The laws we have are extensive. I mean, there's over 2,000 gun laws as it is. And the fact of the matter is, predators are amongst us, and we have to recognize that fact. We don't live in a utopia. Our citizens have to be armed to protect themselves from these madmen.
So what is the solution then? I mean, is that the solution to stop these tragedies, for everyone to be armed? How do you stop this from happening again?
Not for everyone, but it certainly ups the probability of successfully stopping a shooter before you have 20 dead, 30 dead.
Joshua Boston.
People will choose whether or not.
Go on.
People will choose whether or not to carry if they want to. I've made that choice, as have hundreds of thousands of other Americans. And should we unfortunately ever find ourselves in a situation to protect others in our lives, we will.
But the law is the law if it becomes law and you're just willing to break it.
Unconstitutional laws aren't laws.
Okay. I'll leave it at that. Joshua Boston, thank you very much. And do keep us posted on what comes of your letter.
Ice-T was here in the studio. The self-styled godfather of gangster rap had come to talk about a new documentary he's made about the art of rapping, which will be running on tomorrow night's programme. But while he was here and news about the Denver shooting was coming in, I briefly took the opportunity to ask him about his own attitude towards guns. And I asked him why he's such a defender of the right to bear arms.
Well, I'd give up my gun when everybody else does.
And is that
Doesn't that make sense? Well, doesn't that make sense? I mean, if you were to, if there were guns here, would you want to be the only person without one?
So do you carry guns
No,
routinely at home? I mean, you have gun at home?
Yeah, it's legal in the United States. It's part of our Constitution. You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny. Not to hunt. It's to protect yourself from the police.
And do you see any link between that and these sorts of incidents?
No. Nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to kill people, you know, they don't need a gun to do it.
Makes it easier, though, doesn't it?
Not really. You can use, you can strap explosives on your body. They do that all the time.
So when there's the inevitable backlash of the anti-gun lobby as a result of this incident, as there always is.
Well, that's not going to change anything in the United States.
Anything.
No. The United States is based on guns, you know? Like KRS says, you'll never have justice on stolen land. So it's not going to change.
Both in your acting career and I guess in your work as a police officer, you had to deal with lots of guns. And you do seem to have a liking of sophisticated weaponry. You are here in Russia to promote a sniper rifle that will bear, as far as I understand, your own name. What attracts you in guns? Is it engineering? Is it the sense of power? Something else, maybe?
I mean, I believe in, you know, the sport, the Olympics, shooting and Olympics, long-range shooting, all these things. But I also believe that every country has the right to defend their own country. Every man has the right to defend his own wife and children and home. And I also believe that right should triumph over evil. And so I don't have anything against guns, because guns in and of themselves don't kill people. People kill people. So gun is just like a plant or a tool, you know, and you can either do good with it, which is to protect and nurture humanity and mankind, or destroy. And I'm here to nurture and protect people.
Now, I think your own country, the United States, has a very complicated relationship with guns, because on one hand, it's almost perceived as a symbol of freedom protected by the Second Amendment, but on the other hand, it also created specifically American form of violence, mass shootings in schools and universities. So I wonder, where do you stand on the issue of gun control in the United States?
Well, first of all, I believe in the Second Amendment and the Constitution more than anything in the world. And I think that Adolf Hitler, for example, when he wanted to annihilate the people of Germany, the first thing he did was take away their guns. And the rights to bear arms wasn't just to protect the people from foreign invaders, it was to protect them against evil governments and anyone that would violate their inherent rights as a human being. So I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe that, I hate to say this, a lot of these mass murders and all this funny stuff that's going on, I believe a lot of this is engineered.
And yet, in the aftermath of the, I think it was Newtown shooting, you were engaged in a Connecticut program, I think, to teach children in self-defense. Do you think those skills would be helpful if they were faced with somebody who was armed to the teeth?
Well, first of all, I wasn't teaching children to defend themselves. I was teaching what's called the posse, which are sworn officers to come in and defend schools. And so these are people that have had training with firearms. They have had police training. They're just not on my level, but they are, you know, sworn.
But you still thought that that engagement was important, and that there's something has to be done about the gun situation within schools and universities.
The most precious gift we have from God is our children. Why can't we spend money and time to protect our schools and our children? They have armed guards at every bank, at every jewelry store. If you go around Champs-Élysées, you go around France and Monaco and Beverly Hills, there's all these armed guards everywhere protecting money and jewelry. Why can't we protect our children?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have to ask you this. Do you think Hollywood and in particular action movies are partially responsible for glorification of gun violence?
I don't.
No?
I think that, you know, the more important thing we need to look at here is mental health, because there are mentally insane people in every country, and God knows we have our share in America. And I think this is the most important thing to learn there. Look at, I think statistically it's sort of proven that, you know, in Japan, for example, where they have the most violent movies on earth, and they have almost zero crime. What does that tell you? It's not really the movies as much as it's mental health issues and how these people can get help. And it's also parenting. You know, if you have parents who love the children, spend time with their children, teach their children right from wrong, and they have real parenting, you won't see any of this.
And yet, if we look at the pure data, statistics of violence in the United States, and the access that kids have to guns, the amount of time they spent with their parents, it doesn't look pretty well.
To be honest with you, my opinion is that the economy is so bad in America, and the common people are spending every waking moment just trying to survive, to the point where many of them feel like they really don't even have the luxury to spend time with their.
The right to bear arms in America comes from the Constitution that founded the nation. But how easy is it to get one?
I want to buy a gun. I've come in, off the street. What's the process?
Do you know what you're looking for?
I want a gun for self-defense.
For self-defense?
Protect my family in my home.
Okay, how often do you plan to shoot this firearm?
Only if there are bad guys around.
So, mainly once blue moon?
I'm hoping never.
This is the revolver, .357.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
He'll check my ID and crucially contact the FBI to check out my background. Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas mass murderer, his background checks were as clean as a whistle.
You're selling killing machines.
Technically, we're not selling killing machines. We're selling anything from sporting to self-defense, recreational to hunting. All right, now, what the maniac, the psycho behind the gun decides to do with it, that's not our intentions.
I asked to see the most powerful weapon in the shop, and I trigger a visceral response from Andy, feelings ingrained in the soul of middle America.
But these look very military style. What would you use these for? Why would anyone buy one of those?
If the government has it, then I should be able to have it.
Is that the reasoning?
It's one of them. That's one of the reasons why the Second Amendment was written. If the government has more powerful weapons than we do, then they can overthrow us.
Distrust of federal power forged this nation, and today fires up the gun lobby. Like anyone, most gun shop owners were sickened by last Sunday's mass shootings, but they, like millions of Americans, believe these weapons are the only guarantee of freedom. No freedom, no life. Gun control advocates, beware.
And we know exactly what you're trying to do is demonize us and the firearms and gun owners. And there's going to be a time when we can put our foot down. And I hope it's not anytime soon. Hope we never have to. But there will be a time that will come.
Clive Myrie, BBC News in Las Vegas.